Hey, what's up, guys? So, I'm probably talking really loud right now, but if you haven't been able to tell, today's video is about headphones. If you couldn't tell by the title that said this video is about headphones. But anyway, let's get started. Alright, so to get started today, I'm going to talk about the different types of headphones that you may be considering when you're looking for a set of headphones to drum with, to play guitar with, to sing with, just anything, even just to listen with. There's a lot of things to consider when picking out a pair of headphones. Now, a lot of this is going to be based around my observations as a drummer. As a vocalist, it's very different, but as a musician in general, you will have some of the same tendencies as a drummer when you're listening through headphones and for what you need. But as a drummer, we're very loud and we need to block out a lot of sound, and we need a lot of sound to be able to come to our ears so that we can listen to things and play to things and overpower our drums. But the name of the game is doing that in a way that protects your hearing. And so that's what I really want to talk to you guys about today, is the best options for your ears in terms of quality, in terms of protection, and in terms of enjoyment, comfort, things of that nature. So the three main categories would be in-ears / earbuds, which are just your standard run-of-the-mill headphones, kind of like these right here. These are not exactly like high quality or anything, just something you pick up from the store to listen to music with. Secondly would be cans or over-the-ear / on-the-ear headphones. You've seen me wear a lot of these in videos, and so these are something that I really enjoyed using for a long time. And then, lastly, would be custom in-ear monitors. And that's like these right here from 1964 Ears. These are my custom in-ear monitors. And so the difference between these and the in-ears I showed you a few seconds ago are these are custom molded to fit my ears 100% perfectly. And so we'll talk about the differences there, but there are a lot of advantages to having in-ears that are custom molded over in-ears that aren't. But you also have to factor in price when you consider that option. But thankfully, there are some pretty affordable options out there. I'm making a lot of noise here, so hopefully it's not blowing you away there. So those are your three main types. Now, a little bit about each one. The in-ears earbuds that you pick up from the store, a lot of times they can be cheap. The cool thing about them is that you don't have these big clunky headphones on your head, and they go inside your ears, so usually you can turn down the volume more when you're actually using them, instead of having it over the ears, which it isn't directly in your ear, it's kind of further away. The speakers are off of your ear or a little bit away from it, and so you have to turn the volume up more. But the thing about your standard in-ears that you would pick up from the store, whether they be the ones that come with your iPhone, even nice in-ears, like you can buy Shure in-ears. There's Shure, I think they're like 835s or something, and they have like 8 drivers in them, and they cost $1,000. So you can spend a very, very, very pretty penny on in-ears that aren't even custom molded to your head, because there are options out there. Now, from personal experience, I have never been able to use standard in-ears by themselves and overpower my playing. And that's one big reason, is because I play really, really loud. A lot of you probably don't play anywhere near as loud as I do. But for me, I've never had a set of in-ears that works perfectly to provide enough sound into my ears without like destroying my hearing by just turning them up way, way too loud to overpower my actual drums. Now, that brings in a sort of fourth category, which is these right here, and there's other forms of them as well. These are just isolation headphones, and so these don't have a cable. You can't plug them into anything. You don't listen to anything through them, but you put them over your ears, and I hope I don't talk really loud right now, but it blocks out a ton of sound. And this is kind of the main thing that you want to do when you're picking out a set of headphones, is find something that can block out your drumming to a degree that you can save your hearing. And so Yeah, so the option that I used for a while was in-ears. I got some Shure 535s, which are their triple driver model. I spent about $500 on them, which was a lot of money. They were very, very nice in-ears. They sounded great, but I would not spend that much money on a set of non-custom molded in-ears ever again. They were great. I put them in my ears, but they didn't block out enough sound. And so I found myself turning them up so loud to where I'm just blasting my eardrums with way too much sound, and it wasn't good. That's where these came in. I ended up using those 535s in my ears with this over them, and this blocked out the sound so I could keep the volume of the actual in-ears low. So there's tons of great in-ears on the market in terms of just like sound quality and stuff, but you need to find something, if you're going to go that route, that blocks out enough sound that you can play drums and not blow out your hearing, because a lot of people will get those, put them in their ears, and then they're shooting sound directly to their eardrums, and they'll turn them up way too loud. And as a drummer, and as a person, as a human being, your hearing is very valuable, so you don't want to damage it. And as a drummer, we have to be very careful of that. Now, on to the upgraded option of the in-ears. And so, not that I'm dissing cans or anything, because I loved cans and I used them for a long time, over the ears and on the ears, but I finally invested in an upgrade to in-ears, which I can use and actually use the way that in-ears are supposed to be used. And that is, the sound is directly in your ears, and it is actually being able to be turned down. And so these are my 1964 custom molded in-ears. And so I talked a little bit about them at the beginning of this video, but the cool thing about custom molded in-ears is that, number one, they're very high quality in the sound. These are the QIs from 1964, which are 4 drivers. They're custom kind of designed for drummers and bassists, but really when I talked to 1964, I wanted to get something that was nice, and did an amazing job for me. But I also didn't want to go like, hey, I want your top of the line in-ears, and I want like 8 drivers, or they have 12 drivers. Like, they have some incredible pieces of engineering. But I wanted something really amazing, but also still pretty affordable, because I wanted to be able to tell you guys about it and not be like, okay, here's $1,500 worth of in-ears. I hope you go buy them and save your hearing. But no, so these are the QIs, 4 drivers, and the thing about custom molded in-ears is that you go to an optometrist, I believe that's the right, optometrist, that's the eyes, audiologist, wow, all right, there we go, that's a good blooper there. I'll probably leave that in just so you can laugh at me, but you go to an audiologist, and so what they do is they insert foam into your ears, and they get a mold of your actual ears, and then they send it, or you send it to 1964 when you pick out your design, or another company if you choose to go a different route. But they mold them and they create them to fit your ear perfectly. And so when you put them in, it fits right into your ear. And what it does, and what's so cool about it, about getting custom molded ones, is that they block out a ton of sound. Like right now, the amount of sound being blocked out is pretty much equivalent to these. It might actually be more, but I don't have a data to use for that, so I'm not going to try and make any sort of claims. But yeah, so that is what is cool about a custom molded in-ear. And the reason I personally chose 1964 is the guys there are really, really awesome. I love the people behind the product, but more importantly, the prices. So these QIs are $550 retail, which I know that's a lot of money, but take into consideration the fact that I was getting triple driver Shures that weren't custom molded for $500. So you tack on $50 and you get 4 drivers and you get them custom molded and all of that. So that's really, really cool there. But they also have lesser options that are more affordable as well. They have a 3-driver series that is $500, and then they have a 2-driver series that is $400. So there's definitely affordable models there, but the main reason that I chose 1964 over other companies is their quality is still insanely great. But if you go to Ultimate Ears, which is another, like one of the mainstream custom in-ear companies, their in-ears, their 2-driver model starts at 600 and their 3-driver model starts at 850. So that is a huge jump. Even the 2-driver costs more than my 4 drivers did. So that's the big reason there is cost. I always want to show you guys something that is a great deal because I know money is not something that you just throw around. So that's what a custom in-ear is. And out of all the options I'm going to talk about today, this would be the route I would go to save your hearing and to get the best quality if you have the money. Now, I know that not everyone has the money, which is why I'm talking about these other alternatives as well, and some of the things that I've learned over the years playing with different types of headphones. So, that's it for in your ears. Let's talk about over your ears and out of your ears. Now, if you go back through my videos, you'll have seen that I've tried multiple different variations of headphones and owned multiple different variations of headphones over the years of my playing. Way back when, I started with Beats. Studio Beats by Dr. Dre. Got a lot of crap about those headphones because everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're so overpriced, blah, 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 this, blah. Yeah, okay, we'll admit it. I'll admit it. They are overpriced. In terms of actual sound quality, you can get the same or better sound quality for less. But one thing that people just immediately write off is that it's not just about sound quality. If it was just about sound quality, I would have picked out a cheaper headphone. But the thing is that Beats offer, for me, comfort. I really enjoyed the way the studios felt. I also liked the way they looked. I do like how things look. I am definitely, as you see around me, I've got a drum set that has lights in it. Obviously, I care about the way things look. So I enjoyed the design and the comfort of the Beats. But more importantly than that was that the Beats had the isolation, the powered isolation, and then they could produce enough sound and block out enough sound that I could play drums to them and they would actually cover up my drums and I would be able to protect my hearing. That's something that with a ton of different cans that I had used before, I couldn't find something that worked very well. So that's the Beats. I believe you can get the new Beats Studios for about $270, so pretty expensive, especially for cans, but they aren't too bad. You can also find the ones that I use, which are the older model, for like $200, or I'm sure you can buy them used or find them cheaper than that. Now, the next progression in my personal search for a great set of over-the-ear cans was this right here. These are the Pearl Precision Drum Monitors, and basically what they are rebranded Beyerdynamic DT770s. And the reason I'm telling you that is because while the Pearl ones are great, they're not actually anything different than the Beyerdynamic DT770s. And so I got to try these out when I was up at Pearl recording some videos there. And so the cool thing about these are that they're over the ears. And so what over the ears are is when you put them on, they completely go around your ear and they don't touch your ear. The difference between that and the studios and then this other pair of headphones here I'm going to show you is that those are on ear. And so when you set them on your head, you set them like on your ears. I'll adjust it there. They're not completely around. And so what the over-the-ear design does is that it gives you an incredible soundscape. These headphones right here are some of the best sounding headphones I've ever tried in my entire life. I immediately fell in love with them the first time I heard music through them. I can listen to bands that have a lot of minute little tiny details in their recordings that I can't hear on other headphones. And that soundscape makes you feel almost like you're there because the speakers are away from your ears and they're not pressed up against it. You actually feel and hear things like it's around you and not in your ears. It's not like you're listening through headphones. It's almost like you're listening while you're there. Now, I've said a bunch of great things about these headphones. A couple of cons to them, in my opinion, is that they're very big. And so not only do you look crazy when you wear them, they're not exactly the most comfortable, incredible thing to put on your head. They are comfortable, but like in terms of look, they aren't that great. But they move around a lot. I thought I had a pretty big head. I think I do have a pretty big head in terms of actual head sizes. Like I've tried on lots of different headphones and they usually fit pretty well. These moved around a lot on me. And so like because they are over the ears, they don't grip your head very tightly, which is great for like sitting on an airplane, listening to music. It's great for just enjoying the music, but it's not great for playing drumming and going crazy. Those headphones will slide around and may fall off your head. So I had some issues with that. For a while, I would wear a baseball cap backwards or forwards, either way, it doesn't really matter. And I would use that to help hold them on, or like a headband or something. Secondly, is that this particular model is the 250 ohm impedance version. And what that means is that I think it's electrical resistance to the current, the way the music is coming in is so high that it takes a lot of power to make these headphones work. So like if you plug it into an iPhone or you plug it into a computer and you turn it all the way up, it's not going to be very loud. And so in order to use these, I had to use an external headphone amp and digital audio converter. Now you can just get a headphone amp, or you can get a headphone amp combined with a digital audio converter. And I know I'm speaking a bunch of larger words here for some people who don't know much about headphones and stuff like that, but a digital audio converter and a headphone amplifier are two different things, but they can be combined. A headphone amp just gives you more power and more volume. So you can just get a headphone amp with these, and you've got nice, loud, beautiful sounding music, which is wonderful. But another thing is you can get a digital audio converter, and what that does is it bypasses the sound card in your iPhone or in your computer and uses its sound card, which is much better. It gives you the full quality of your track. So like if you have really high quality recordings that you're listening to, like full quality WAV files and things of that nature, it'll actually allow you to hear all the little nuances that you wouldn't be able to hear on a more compressed, smaller version of the track like an MP3. So yeah, that's those. Then the last variation of the cans that I went through are these right here. Razer hit me up when they put out new headphones and asked me if I'd like to try them, and of course I said yes, because Razer is synonymous with really great gaming headphones and gaming monitors and gaming peripherals and stuff. So I was like, yeah, let me try them. I got them and I was very impressed. Now they don't have the exact same sound quality as this level of headphone here, which is understandable because this retails for $50 and these retail for $175. So right there, you're saving $125 by getting these. But you're of course not getting the same sound quality, the same comfort, the same soundscape. But they do a great job. They hold onto my head really well, no matter what I'm doing, no matter how crazy I am. They stay on there, and they block out a lot of sound. They're on your ears really tight. They have nice cushy ear cushions, nice cushy ear cushions, and they do a great job of providing enough volume to overpower my drums and to listen through. And so I actually take these on the road sometimes instead of those when I'm just listening to music, and they sound great. So yeah, this is a great alternative if you're looking for something cheap that also does a great job. They're the Razer Adaro stereo headphones. And lastly, I want to talk about a set of headphones that's not here. I don't actually own them because I got these and I already had those, but they are the Audio-Technica Ath M50s. And so they're a little bit cheaper than these headphones here, and they have incredible sound quality and a lot of volume. So you may want to check out those as well. But like I said, I haven't heard anything that sounds better in the headphone range that's not like astronomically priced than these right here, the Beyerdynamic DT770s or the Pearl Precision drum monitors. And so these work great with like the ePro Live drum set that I have upstairs because you don't need as much volume to overpower. But when I'm playing as loud as I do on a drum set, Sometimes these are a little short, which is why I use the digital audio converter and headphone amp. And lastly, just as an extra alternative, I showed you these already. These block out sound, and they do a great job of it, and they actually make a really cool sound to your kit. I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of like EQ'd a little bit. It blocks out some of the overtones and stuff, and so when you play your drums, they sound really punchy and beefy, even more so than you normally would sitting behind a kit here. Like a lot of times in front of the kit, you get a better quality version of what you hear, but behind the kit, it's not exactly where the best sound should be for your audience. It should be out there. But here, when you wear these, it actually blocks out the sound really well and does a great job of EQing the drums and making them really punchy and beefy. Now, Vic Firth also offers a drummer's headphone, which has a cable. You plug it in and you can listen to music and wear those at the same time, which is another great alternative. Also $50, and these are $22. And so if you're just practicing and you're not listening to music, wear these. I wear them almost all the time that I practice. But then if you want to listen to music and you like these, the stereo isolation headphones from Vic Firth will also be great, and they're only $50, which is the same price as the Razer Daro stereos here. Now, I will say a little bit of a con about these is they're not exactly that comfortable. They grip your head really tight, and I mean, they're made of cheap plastic, but they're also cheap. $22, yeah, that's not really much when it comes to protecting your hearing, an investment that you want to make for the rest of your life. So, that is my way too long, but hopefully pretty thorough breakdown of headphones for you guys. All in all, if I'm going to like declare a winner, I would have to go with custom molded in-ears. And that's just because they do everything you need them to in terms of protecting your hearing. They're made to fit in your ears, so the look is great. Like you can, you girls and some of you guys, like your hair, you got to have it perfect. And I'm definitely I guess guilty of it sometimes too. There's times where I put on these headphones like, man, the rest of the day my hair is going to be all whack. So it's great to be able to put in-ears and have them in my ears, and they look great. They're not distracting. For a while when I played at my church, I have these big cans on, and like all the pictures and the video online, everyone's like, I mean, people weren't exactly like, I would say, judging. They were like, oh man, that's stupid. But it just doesn't look as professional as having your in-ears in. And I couldn't have a set of in-ears that worked the way I needed them to, so I had to go with custom molded ones. And I didn't really know what to expect. Everyone talks wonders of 1964. Everyone talks wonders of custom molded in-ears. So I was expecting great things, and then I got them and I was blown away. And you'll see, I'll zoom in on these a little bit here, but they are incredibly made, and I got my logo on them, got my name on them, got them in red and black with a carbon fiber over inlay thing, a bobber. And they come in a really nice case and everything. So that was a great investment on my part. Everything else here, also great investments besides those I would never be able to use to play drums. But for guitar, low volume guitar, or for anything of that nature, you might be able to pull that off. But the name of the game, and something I want you guys to think about if you haven't thought about it, is protecting your hearing, because no one wants to not be able to hear. Like it's something valuable, something we take for granted. And there's people out there that can't hear, or people that have damaged their hearing through playing music. My head instructor, overall director of bands at Georgia State, his name's Dr. Ambrose, incredible guitarist, incredible musician, incredible person. And he used to play in rock bands all his life. And so now, I think it's called like tinnitus or something, but he has like a constant ringing in his ears, and he's like, that's the first thing he preaches to everyone he meets is protect your hearing, protect your hearing, protect your hearing. So from me to you, protect your hearing. It's a great investment, and so are some custom in-ear monitors, so that you can actually protect your ears, get the sound quality and level that you want. And if you can't afford custom in-ears, or if you're just looking for something to multi-purpose, some of these options over here are great. And just make sure you do your research and think about it a little bit. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know down below if you have any of these, if you like any of these, if you have questions about them, I'll try and answer them. And have a great day. Peace.